Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to my first video. My name is Cantu Shea and I'm happy you've joined me today. And based on the topic, we're going to have some very interesting talk and share some interesting views with you about why in the world would anyone want to go natural? It's a question I do get. I did get that question, especially when I was thinking about it and asking others their opinions on it. And you will be surprised just how varied and even very disturbing the views of natural hair are. So we're going to talk about that today. And I just want to start off by, with anyone who's thinking about going natural or anyone who may be offended at the very thought of going natural, there's some questions you need to ask yourself before you take this journey on, because it is a lifetime commitment that you will be making if you decide to go natural. Hopefully that's what we would want. And those of us in the natural community who are really teaching others or encouraging others to embrace their own natural hair, there's some questions you need to ask yourself. Number one, what are my views on natural hair? That's very critical. That is actually going to be the foundation. You have to address that. And number two, where did I get those views? That's some time for reflection. Think about, growing up and think about, just all the influence around you. Where did you get your views about natural hair? And number three, are those views correct? And if not, number four, how do I change those views? So those are the things you're going to be looking at today. And I can tell you, based on my own experience and my own thoughts, and just doing a general survey of quite a few people right here in Jamaica where I am, I think it's pretty much the same, almost as in North America. Maybe it's little differences here and there, but you'd be surprised that a lot of people are very offended at the thought of going natural. I have so many people that are like, natural, with the degree of scorn and dripping condemnation in their voices and tone. You'd think I'd suggested that they consider prostitution as a job. That's how the reaction is. And many of us, I think, have a few issues that we need to think about. I know for me, some of the things that I considered when I was going natural, I struggled with. I said, well, first of all, how am I going to style my hair? Because here where I am, natural hair really, first of all, and this is not any kind of negative view on Christianity at all. A lot of being Jamaica being a very religious country, we have the most churches per square mile. We still hold the Guinness World Record for that, the most churches per square mile. So it's a very religious country, and especially those of the Pentecostal persuasion tended, and certain other persuasions tended to only encourage natural hair. So technically, the only persons I saw with natural hair were people who were of that kind of persuasion. And nothing wrong with that, but the sad thing was that they didn't wear it well. And very few people who had natural hair around wore it well. The styles are very basic and unattractive. And so it really was nothing to aspire to. In fact, that only helped to contribute to the mockery of it. So that was one issue I had in terms of how do you style your hair. Growing up, actually, my mom didn't really encourage me to process my hair. In fact, she loved my hair, and my mother is like a half mixed Chinese, half black, so she had big, beautiful curls. Her hair was long enough to sit on, as when she was younger. And so she actually loved my hair. She loved when I'd have it in cane rows and long plaits or braids, whichever you want to call them. And but still the culture and influence of those around me, and the social influence, was that you just cream your hair as soon as you get of age to manage it, because natural hair is a nuisance. So that was another contributing factor in my life. And then of course now, when I really started to reflect deep on it, we have the very obvious issue that all of us, especially in the West, have had to deal with, which is the whole issue of really reflecting on race and racism and the influence of racism on our views as people of color on ourselves. And when I really look back onto the history of how processing and or perming or creaming, relaxing, whatever you want to say, your hair began, it really was just a matter of, distaste and dislike for your own hair. Persons wanted the hair to look like European or like white people. And so that is where it started way back, decades and decades ago. Of course, now, over the last 40 or 50 years, with those things supposedly, have changed, um, what now happens is that no one really is going to just admit, well, it's a racial issue why I process my hair. And so, what I believe has been the backdoor excuse now is, well, it's just easier to manage. And really, at the heart of the matter, that might be true to a point, but that's not the core issue of really why I believe many of us still process our hair or straighten our hair, whichever, whether by flat ironing or chemical relaxer. And it really is a deep reflection, a hard reflection we need to take with ourselves. I had to do it. And when I really just got to that point of realizing that that really was part of the root of the issue of my view of natural hair, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who that's probably the root of the issue for them. I don't see what any other root could be. Then, it just reached a point of saying, well, I need to deal with these views because this is my God-given hair. I was created with this hair, and I'll even take it a point since we're speaking of God-given hair. If you even want to get scriptural or really spiritual about it, and you look at it, even the Bible says that the hair of a woman is her glory and it's her covering. It is a spiritual blessing that a woman has her hair, the hair that God gave her. So if you think about it, if you reject the hair that you have been given, the hair that is on your head, and despise it, in a way you're rejecting your own covering, and that spiritual blessing is removed from you because you don't want it. This might be a little deep, but think about it. It's something to chew on. But regardless of what aspect you want to take, the views on our hair is really what is critical to think about when you're going to be going natural. So once you have addressed those views and you realize that you have a mindset, and I can tell you that a mindset is a very, 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 very difficult thing to overcome. A mindset is not something that you overcome just an accident. You really have to aggressively, purposefully deal with a mindset. And you deal with a mindset by facing the truth of it. What are the facts? What are the things that need to change? And really discipline yourself to embrace that change, because it's human nature to not like change. Okay, as part of the transitioning, I always tell people transitioning is not just about the hair transitioning. You are transitioning also. You're transitioning in your mental state, now having to embrace this new hair, having to think about how you're going to handle it, the different products. It's a whole mind change as well. So take it in stride. Be very deliberate about it. Keep yourself educated and well informed, and enjoy the journey. Get excited about your own hair. And one of the ways that you do that is doing what other persons recommended I did, it just happy to, was to go on YouTube. The natural hair and community on YouTube is very vibrant. There's so much education, so much knowledge, so much sharing. There's no lack of hair care and styling, etc., that you can do that could really get you excited, because that's what really helped me make the decision confidently, because I had made a decision initially, but I wasn't confident about it. But seeing how I could now wear my hair well, wear it with flair, as Mahogany Curls likes to say. Love Jess, a big fan of her. And that really just makes the difference. So once you've dealt with these views, taken this reflection, make the change, and then embrace your hair from there. I really want to encourage persons, because some persons love to hear about a movement and they jump on a bandwagon. Oh, natural hair seems to be the rage right now, and they jump on it, not really taking the time to think about these things. And then later on you find that you get frustrated, and I've seen it. People say they can't be bothered with it, And at the end of the day, it really goes back again to the foundation. Because if you just jumped on the natural hair bandwagon, hoping that, maybe if you start it, you'll get to embrace your hair, you'll get to like your hair. No. It's very, very critical that you address these issues I mentioned. Ask yourself these questions up front. It's like you really are developing a relationship with your hair. And, you would not marry a guy and hope you get to like him later. That's a recipe for divorce. And that's exactly what happens with some people who jump on a natural hair thing, and then they didn't really educate themselves, they didn't really address their own viewpoints. And of course, months down the road, they're like, I can't be bothered with this. And they go back to the creamy crack or back to the flat iron. So think of these things, um, you know, just meditate on them, be honest with yourself. And if you find that, wow, I've really deep down had some wrong views, make a change. Make the change, make the correction. That's how we grow. We grow when we look at ourselves and we make the change for better. So I hope this really helps someone who's probably thinking about going natural, or anyone who probably may have some views on natural hair that are negative. Just really want this to encourage you and be informative to you. And we hope you really, really get a conviction about your own hair, and you become a part of the natural hair community and encouraging others to do the same. So it's great talking with you guys today. Have a great day, and stay true to yourself. Bye bye.